Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Okay, we're good. Hello everyone, KobaltKai here. Welcome back to my development log of Kaiju Chronicles. Before I get this game started, I want to say special thanks to all of my supporters on Patreon, YouTube, and Buy Me a Coffee. It's thanks to you guys that I was able to get this developed to this point. I also wanted to go over some of the controls this patch list as well as some of the current bugs, just to give you guys a heads up. So, currently, you would use the up, down, left, and right arrow keys in order to move around. The most important thing is to use R to access the menu and enter to select the saved data. I spent the last 4 weeks, or more likely the last 3 months actually, working to get the save data developed because I can't imagine releasing this game in a broken save state. So, I spent the last month working on that, and I am now back because I've gotten that fixed. For the most part, the enemy AI is not complete. There are not currently any enemies specifically in the game yet. Rather, what is in the game currently are test stages that I wanted to go over. So I'm going to show you guys some of the level design that I'm currently working on, and if there's any specific kind of levels or level designs you would like to vote for, don't mind the hole in the floor, that's my part of poor programming. If there are any specific level designs that you would prefer, feel free to enter them in the comments below or recommend them on Patreon, but for the most part, the levels and maps that I'm showing you currently, these are all, to put it bluntly, they are test maps. Essentially, I am very new to game development, and I didn't want to just release an opening level and throw that right off the bat. I had to get my hands dirty, figure out what I'm working with, and see how far I could take things first. So, this is currently how far things are at the moment, and I just wanted to go over some of the different maps. So, outside of the fact that loading was previously buggy, it's currently fixed now, and you're able to actively reload or load any save file that you would like to. I'm now going to load another map, another sample map. This particular factory, I was actually planning for it to be one of the starting levels, but I'm afraid that I don't have anything left to produce inside of it yet. So for the most part, it is empty. Even I'm still getting used to some of the camera controls. I might have to calibrate some of these. But that being said, I wanted to show you guys around a bit, let you know currently how the level design is going, because when I do make the starting level, and it will be later on this month, I want to make sure that everything is properly assembled, essentially. I had to make these levels to ensure that everything is going according to plan. Make sure that I'm not leaving any holes in the ground, because that was an issue previously. That being said, I will move on to the next save state at this moment. Each of these maps is my way of testing out different environments to basically see what do I need to work on, what can I do better. These are some of the aforementioned holes that I mentioned. There were a lot more of them than this. But for the most part, everything is essentially finished in terms of map design. All I have to do is design a sky block so that there is a nighttime and daytime cycle. And I should also, I suppose, work on some of the enemy AIs as well this month. But for the most part, there is a jump in the game currently, and you can also even hold it if you run up to a tree, climb it. If there's an enemy that is way too powerful for you to want to deal with, you can climb that tree and essentially jump from one tree to the next. It's a work in progress because I'm jumping from one 2D object to the next. There we go. I would have to increase the cylinder hitbox of the tree though in order to make it more practical and a little bit less difficulty based, but if you like skill-based gaming, that would be something that I have planned currently. So, this is currently the menu displaying the character's health points. It is not currently, well, currently speaking, it is bugged. So it displays the maximum amount of health points, but it does not display the amount of health points they have left after they take damage. So, I'll be moving on to the next map now. This was a test of There we go. This was a test of producing forest biomes. I wanted to see how well I could design this, and what I have learned so far is that trees, there is a reason a lot of games make sparse forest, because you can't see what you're doing inside of them. So, that being said, I was studying some of the different ways that I could develop the game, and what I discovered is that I can primarily use tiles as a way to... I plan to use tiles in the form of trails and whatnot as a way to essentially navigate from one level to another. I believe I put a... Yep. And I have fallen through the map. Okay. On to the next map while I get that bug fixed. Okay, here we go. This is my Type 2 forest model, something that I primarily designed for more open forest, designed for exploration, and a little bit less for straight open paths. Just noticed my mouse was on screen the whole time. But currently, this is the way that I've currently designed the levels, and it's a little bit of a work in progress, but it was roughly inspired, I believe, either between Kingdom Hearts or Digimon. So for the most part, expect the first level, the starting level, since it can't be too hard, to resemble something a little bit similar to this path. Perhaps with a little bit of obstacles, maybe a wall here, maybe I'll make it like those mobile phone games where you're supposed to run non-stop, and if you hit something, you slow down and you have to keep running. Perhaps, if I get good enough to do that in terms of game development. For the most part, this is currently the current state of the test maps, and I wanted to make sure that each one of them and each one of these load states is working. So, if you guys have any ideas for map development, you are welcome to enter it in the comments down below. I am always listening to the comments. I'm very eager to see what you guys would like to recommend, because there are very few games that are actually out currently like this. I'm looking to build a 3D Metroidvania of sorts. This is currently my progress on designing buildings. I cannot scale... Okay, I can scale this one. I decided to make it look a little bit like a castle. My voice is a little bit deep right now because I'm relatively tired and just got through working with Halloween sales. The fun part is keeping the light off so there aren't any kids knocking on the door. Anyway, the platforms currently, they are a work in progress. I have not been working on them too hard, but I do have a workaround for when I do get them done. I will have to focus on designing 2 different platforms currently. I don't quite know if I'm going to... How do I describe this? I don't know if I'm going to create moving platforms with different designs, or if I'm going to create regular tiles that are just levitating on a different higher layer. But either way, this game, I do plan for it to eventually have higher tiles or higher levels to it. And I believe that if I go over here, I put it on one of the characters, he is actually a teleport screen. Let me see. There we go. Yes, so currently, this is a higher plane than the one that I was just on. I believe I can... Yep, there we go. And these are all the different characters that I currently have developed to essentially come into game at some point or another. They're not all the characters I have planned. However, I'm not supposed to be here. This is a battlefield. Oh gosh. Okay. Reference, I decided to put some battle tiles right here, and essentially, if I walk over them randomly, it goes full Pokemon, essentially, and teleports me to a different battle scene I have not worked out. So currently, this game is developed to be a platform adventure RPG, essentially with attack animation, sword animations, but best of all, if I can get over here fast enough, there's actually a little surprise I have for you guys. I believe I discussed it in a previous patch note. I'm going to click on this guy. That was an in-game cutscene. So you walk over a tile, you trigger it, you touch an enemy and you get below 1 HP, you trigger it. I will be demonstrating that later on in this video, but that is primarily for the game over cutscenes. So for the most part, these are the remaining enemies that I am 100% sure I will not be sued over the design of because they're not inspired by Pokemon. But that being said, I don't remember which map I'm actually on right now. Is it this one? Nope. Okay then. This should be the second to last one. So, this is one of the most advanced forms of level design that I currently have managed to render. It is that of a 3D maze. I have not filled it with enemies yet, as I have not perfected the enemy AI. However, once it is finished, it should be ready for, the game should be ready for its first patch note launch, and that is right around the corner actually. All I have to do is complete the enemy sprite animations. It seems a little bit game breaking that you're able to jump on the wall like this, but this is actually the default engine setting for RPG Architect, and honestly, I like the feature. So I'm going to keep this in-game and try not to program it out. For the most part, the idea of being able to climb literally any wall in the game is actually pretty interesting to me, and I'd like to experiment to see what kind of level design I'm able to promote with it, because a lot of games, they'll do things like wall jumping per se, or they'll make walls immovable objects you can't interact with much. I think I'd like to experiment with that at some point. But for the most part, the music that you are hearing in the background was actually made from one sample per song from Free Sound. I took one sample about 4 seconds to 10 seconds and remixed it. So those artists will receive credits in the official patch of the game. I almost can't even describe how much I actually appreciate that there's someone out there who really made like free music samples, because up to this point, before this year, I was struggling to actually make any samples. I might have to increase the character's speed or give him a running speed currently. But this is one of the starting mazes. Well, one of these starting sample mazes. I don't necessarily plan for it to be in the game. If you guys have any other ideas, if you don't like the maze concept, feel free to recommend a better idea down below. RPG Architect is a very new game development software, and I'm currently learning along with several other content creators who are embarking on creating games that bring a new form of nuance to the RPG development. You've probably heard of RPG Maker MV or MZ. To put it bluntly, the game software was made in like 1990, I believe it was 1993, 1997, and it stopped being developed and updated in 2003. Everything currently on it is a plugin. So this was the alternative, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. Locke worked very hard to get this game to where it is and what it is today. So I will now take you to the enemy animations, and hopefully these will not try to kill me. That was one of Bert's enemies from, I believe it was Bit by Bit Sound. But as you can see on screen, I have two different enemy movement types. One is random, and the other is... The other is for being chased by enemies. I have it set to a unit speed of 1 movement and then 1 millisecond delay. But if you touch it, let's say like that, you will take damage. So if it allows me to, yes, just as I anticipated, the HP will not go down. This character currently has 20 health points, so I will run this down currently. Its size is actually very big, as in incredibly large. This is the true size of the enemy. It will actually stop attacking in its current state if you would like to walk around it or so. But I plan to have that patched out when I release the first enemy development. see. Currently, this is the state of the dialogue box. Where is it? Here it is. Okay. So, what I have just shown is the game over cutscene. I'm currently planning to have multiple game over endings, depending on what the character does or what happens to the character. But I can design custom game overs, and I am so glad I'm an animator because I can take full usage of this. But, currently, this is... Oh, before I even forget, if you get to this menu, do not hit load over any of these saves. It will erase your save. Huh, never mind. I believed it would, but I guess I still need to do some testing. Anyway, I believe I missed one of these. Nope, that seems to be it. So for the most part, this is how the game development has been going in-game. And I do plan to have different enemies, as I mentioned before, available in-game. But for the most part, let me know your thoughts down below. I do not have a specific definitive day for when this game will be releasing its first patch note on itch.io. For itch.io. First, I have to finish developing that webpage, and then I would have to start developing additional patch notes. You see, if things go well, and they are going very well so far, I might make this game free to play to everyone and then have a patch notes for Patreon supporters. Perhaps 1 or 2 patch notes ahead of the public patch notes, similar to the developer of the game Tavern of the Spear. That was a very good game. Anyway, when I release the game, it will very likely have a lot of dark shading and a lot of dark lighting to it, so expect the best or expect the worst. It's coming. So, I will see you guys later on, and I hope you have a nice day. Oh, before I forget, I still have that poll available on Patreon for anyone who would like to recommend specific game overs or specific interactions with characters. It is mature themed, of course, just a heads up, but it is still open. We are currently at 700 votes, and the more votes I get, the better information I have for what you guys would like to see. So don't forget to vote or tell me what you'd like to see in the comments below, and I will see you guys later. This is KobaltKai signing out.